today? I hope y'all having a blessed day. Today I have another poet, fantastic artist that I've met a few years ago. He is currently the 2019 Most Divine Poet from the Trenton Divine Poetry Night Out series of slams that we have.
That's right.
And he's reigning because of the COVID. So he's the longest reigning Most Divine Poet ever.
That's
so,
right.
But today I have an up-and-coming super talent on the scene, and my brother, Giovanni Williams.
How you guys doing? All right. What's going on?
How you been?
Been good, James.
All right. These times, it's some different times that we're living in, and I know you have a lot of things you've been doing.
Yep.
Could you share something with the community right quick to inspire them?
Yes. All right. So this piece is called "Ready or Not." Ready or not. From the inception, whose recollection is it upon which we rely? Far be the eye searching for the truth in a land of lies. Hard bleeds the lives hit with constant attacks on the one constant attached in this existence that's lacking. Subject to government tracking, we are the generation unmasking our own demise is televised. The revolution, no one's asking. As our attention floats away in streams, multiple tributaries of relaxing, while our fate plunders towards a new regime, ruled by the screen handheld. Our minds mesmerized by hands spell orchestrating our social addictions till our hands swell. What lies in the beyond? When members on hands no longer work. When age has caressed sinews and flesh until wrinkles quench with youth's thirst. What lies in the beyond? When dimples and smiles are replaced with sagging and vile, when functions of the body have passed its prime, what happens at the end of our time? What matters in the end? After the posts and the likes and the friends. After the stories disappearing all end. After the live becomes a lost trend. After each profile no longer exists, after each page ceases to consist of a continuous pace, what happens when each soul finally meets its fate? Will there be a rate on how well you were liked on the feed? Will there be a consensus of whether or not your blue check was legitimate indeed? Will there be a judgment on what individual mattered the most? There will be a raising of all lives, far and close, old and young, man and woman, daughter and son, when waking up is done, when going to sleep is no more. There will be a resurrection that I know you're not ready for.
Wow. Nice piece.
Thank you.
Did times of today inspire that piece?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so I'm 29, you know, so I grew up in that generation. I'm born in 91, grew up in the 90s, grew up in the 2000s, early 2000s, and now I'm a father, you know, I'm a husband, three children, and I grew up seeing how my generation becomes more and more engrossed in technology, disenfranchised and completely kind of separated from like human interaction, and really consuming everything that we receive from these devices, you know, whatever the media puts out, information, exactly. We're information inundated, we're information flush, we're consumed with information to the point where there is a lacking now of understanding what lies in the beyond what you can see,
That's right.
beyond what you can feel and touch, beyond what you have, beyond what you can search on Google.
Right.
You know what I mean? Beyond what mankind has the ability to give you an answer for.
Right.
So, I wanted to use that piece to kind of, not kind of, but actually to spark something to raise a flag, to
right.
Send out a warning, to beckon, with a call of attention, to everyone, but definitely my peers, to, hey, there's more than what's posted today. You know what I'm saying? And there's more than what's going on in your inner circle, and there's more than what's cascaded on any kind of media platform. You have to think about what's gonna happen when all is said and done, because that's gonna actually gauge and guide how you govern your life here and now.
Right.
So
now you see what's going on with the COVID and stuff like that. How do you see where do you see the poetry community going right now, and what are the things that you're doing to uplift the community, and what are the things that you see, where do you see the community going?
Well, technology, man. Technology is where we are forced, as in many other ages. You know what I mean? I mean, when the wheel came, if you still trying to do anything other than that, you behind the ball now. You know what I'm saying?
Trying to run while they speeding by you at the wheel.
Right, exactly. When the cars happen, it's like, yo, I want to do the horse and buggy, but it's like, yo, bruh, like, we got cars now. You got to get with it, or you're going to get left in the dust. So technology-wise, as an artist, we're forced now to embrace technology with a good measure of caution. Though, you use, there's a scripture in the Word of God that says, using this world as not abusing it. So we can use technology, but we shouldn't let technology use us. We shouldn't let it abuse us to the point where we are now taking the commands, as opposed to, like, when you type in whatever kind of function in the computer, it's supposed to take your commands. It's like technological terminology. So as an artist, as a community contributors, as really we should be pillars in the community, almost like the griots, from the African culture, where they looked to the griots, to these artists, as the modern day newspaper, as the modern day feed, where they got their information from these individuals who were prophets, just like prophets, so we should function like that. But our vein and our vehicle of getting to the people now in these times is going to be technology. It's going to be through social media. It's going to be through the feed. You have to be wise enough to be able to surf that medium and not let it overtake you, in terms of them changing you because of the mass inundation of information. But you rather actually making that difference and that voice on it. So that's where I've been pushed, and I don't say only pushed, but inspired during this COVID-19 pandemic. I've been putting out different pieces, and I'm kind of in a trajectory where before sometimes I would have these projects that were like set out, but for me right now, I'm really like on a day-by-day basis of my inspiration, seeing what's out there, and then boom, I'm like, all right, I know what I need to speak about to the people, so I think that for the community, that's where artists, that's where we have to be now, because that's where everybody else is. My kids are in school virtually, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, here we are in 2021, and
As a young man, you've already put out 2 books, poetry books.
Yep, Revolution, and then Revolution Redemption.
Yes.
So it's the second installment.
And your wife is doing music and singing. So
yes, she's a recording artist, yes.
And you're a father of 3.
Yes, father of 3 boys.
So you are the example that motivation and consistency can push you to. He's the example of motivation and consistency can keep you thriving, and you don't have to be bogged down by what's going on today. So we have examples in our community that are thriving. So Giovanni is one of these examples in the community. So tell me about now that it's Black History Month, what started you and inspired you on this great poetry run that you're on?
Well, so I'm originally from New York, born and raised, Brooklyn.
Poetry capital of the world.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Well,
yeah,
I'm just from my view. I think Newark,
that's right, Newark, New York.
Yeah,
because New Yorican out in
exactly.
Manhattan, which is I used to visit there a lot. So I've been doing poetry. I started writing poetry when I was 12.
Yeah.
Because my 7th grade art teacher gave us an assignment to write a poem about our community. And that was like one of my first real poems. I can remember it to this day. It's like Brooklyn. That was the name of it. And I was like, Brooklyn, man. And people be talking about people be dying. And that was just how I started off. And I just grew from there. I was actually the poetry poet laureate from my high school, Medgar Evers High School in Crown Heights of Brooklyn, New York. So when I went to Stony Brook University, which is where I went to school, I had a friend that really started to get enlightened, about God, about life. And she actually started to talk to me about what she was getting inspired with, the Word of God, and where she was learning the Word, which so happened to be New Jersey.
Right.
I was like, why are you traveling so far to go to, and she was like, well, you travel far for quality. I couldn't argue with her because I remember we would have Bible studies. I would have a page full of scriptures. So I ended up coming over to Ewing, New Jersey, which was my first time ever, because I was so mesmerized by how the Word was presented to me in the volume of education that I was getting from the Word. And that ended up being where I was, got converted to truly being a devout follower of Jesus Christ. And through the place where I go to church in Ewing, my pastor, Bishop Bruce T. Harvey.
Know him deeply.
Say it again?
I said, I know him deeply.
Yes, right. You guys have deep history.
Yes.
And one of the things while I was there and being in, as we were talking earlier in ministry, my pastor, he noticed my gift at writing, and he was like, yo, man, like, you got to do something with this, brother. Like, you can't just keep this was done in a corner.
That's right.
So he just,
give the gift.
Yeah. So he's like, hey, you did it where you're at. Now you over here in Jersey, you should, get involved, Right. So I was like, all right, pastor, I agree, So there was an event that was happening in Trenton at that time, which was the poet laureate of the country, which was now her name escapes me, at Tracy Smith. Now I remember Tracy Smith. She was being featured at an event, and it was a big one. Like that was a really big one.
Downtown
that was like 2000 downtown Trenton. Yep, at the park, at the library. Which is it open? Like
I would have to investigate that.
It's the way that things is just crazy at this time. But the point is that that was that event where I was like, yeah, let me, I need to get involved with that. And I prepared something, I went, and that really, I performed, and it was a really good occasion. They put my picture in the newspaper and all of that. And my wife too was singing, and that really inspired me. And instead of following me to be like, yo, let's do, you got to be that voice, bro. For the community, for that uplifting. So from that point forward, I've just been being involved in the community. Getting to know great people such as yourself, Todd Evans, Latarsha Burke.
Yes.
I had was doing stuff at the Starbucks, downtown Trenton. Got involved with the most poetry divine, night out. You know what I'm saying? And it just snowballed into that.
That's right.
So that's really that was kind of like my artistic journey, and now to this point forward, it's now putting it out on a consistent basis, on social media, which is reaching my community, and beyond, whatever else is set, for me to come into,
Now, I know you, Malik Aknetter, and MDMB, and it's a it's a whole group of poets who have been involved with the mass incarceration awareness.
Right.
Speak to me a little bit about that before you go into your next piece, and tell me some of the stuff that people can do to stay involved with that, and keep awareness going.
Well, they have a group called the New Jim Crow, it's a group that's kind of dedicated to actually addressing these issues with mass incarceration. With mass incarceration is the mass locking up of black men, and it was something that was orchestrated systemically. As people say, systemic racism. They use that term. This ain't nothing new. Black community being targeted, and oppression exists in all the world. So we have to be able to identify it and then find a solution. So the New Jim Crow chapter in Trenton, the Trenton area, is one of the groups that I know of that address that issue. Obviously you as an individual can address that issue just by, taking the time to speak to young men. Young men of color, young men that may not be of color, because they can get caught up too.
Right.
But the target, we know from that aspect, is young black men, and to take the time out to talk to young black men about alternatives to what would lead them on a trajectory to getting locked up, being processed. Now you have that record. Now you can't get certain jobs. You have a felony. You're hindered from actually ascending. From a natural standpoint, financial standpoint, for yourself and your family. Then you have to go on the black market, selling drugs, whatsoever have you, to make ends meet. And then it just snowballs into worse and worse and worse. And you locked up. You end up really being a modern day slave to the system, to what was orchestrated, because, they use prisoners for labor.
It's money.
It's money. It's absolutely a business. So, you can't feed them if that's the case. So, that's my recommendation is you can get educated on it, look things up on, the internet to, teach yourself. I know that, they have the New Jim Crow. That is a book that's out there, which is one source of information about it. But in anything, I would say additionally, if you want to get involved in the fight, then use your gift, use your ability, your God-given talent, to speak to these atrocities that are continually being done.
So what he's saying is, let's get proactive and not reactive about the situation that's going on, to make sure that the actions that we take are being a resource for the people. You know what I mean? So before we go, you got another piece for me?
Yes, I have another piece. So this piece more speaks to the current days that we're in.
Okay.
It's called Reminisce These Days.
Okay.
And, when I wrote this piece, it was focusing on just the experience that we've been having with COVID-19.
Okay.
Like I said, as an individual, you want to, you always should take caution, in anything that you do. But you want to make sure that you don't, fear. Fear is a strong thing, man.
That's right.
Fear is a very strong thing. I recently, was aware that someone actually threatened one of the state buildings to come and shoot the place up.
Oh, I heard about that.
Because they weren't able to get a vaccine. So, people kind of have to, not kind of, but people who are in these spotlights of great influence have to be careful with how they use it. There's ulterior motives to everything. And this situation with COVID-19 and just the pandemic and the way that it's being propagated is no different. Sicknesses have always been, and they always will be. The root of sickness is sin, and Jesus Christ is the one who can save people from that through actually following his teachings. Not just what you heard, but what you read and is written for
being activated.
Being right, exactly, coming to pass, taking obedience to it. So that's the solution. And a lot of my pieces, they are avenue in a way to either show what is going on. So, hey, you aware of this? You know about this? Let me tell you about this in this fancy kind of artful way. But it's also to guide people to a solution. You know, we as artists, we have a responsibility to guide people to a solution. Please don't paint this like hopeless, dreary, you know, setting for the people, and then they have nowhere to go. That's right. So because then they're gonna be lost. So reminisce these days. I remember a simpler time when handshakes and embraces were the markers of unity sublime. Somewhere along the line, our humanity got in the way. Mortality frayed notions of hope that remained. Oceans of smoke billowed, flame ignited from embers of pain. Will things ever be the same? Questions continue to singe the brain. Some turn to war, figuring fighting will bring back the scores of souls lost to the reaping, of lives too late for the treatment, bleeding grief, gushing anguish, drenching their eyes, seeking to be conquered, they divide. Believing hate can fill the void they hold inside. Some turn to peace, delusional at best, perceiving order in a mess, blindly following every quest, question no edicts ever at all, succumbing to every opportunistic whim, as long as it's displayed as a national good with pseudoscience in a grin. Unwittingly pawned in their manipulators' ever-increasing sin. This maze is meant for the lost. This maze is meant for the mind to be lost, constantly being tossed in every direction by the howling wind and the bitter frost. What is the cost? Humanity? Human rights? Human life? Where should one stand in this age? Questions burning as pungent as sage. As the world keeps turning and time is ticking, I remember a simpler time. I know a simpler way.
Beautiful, beautiful. We have Giovanni Williams, 2019 and reigning.
Right.
Most Divine Poet from the Trenton Divine Poetry Night Out Slams. Once again, we're here in beautiful downtown Trenton. That's at right. 4 West Lafayette State Street. 4 Lafayette Street. At the Classic Books and Gifts. Come on down and support this great location when you get a chance. I know it's a little cold out right now, but it's going to be warming up in about, another month or two. So when you get a chance, come on down and support. This is the home cooking that we have here.
And can I tell them about my where they can find me too?
Of course, definitely. So come on down, and when it warms up, or if you feel like chasing the cold, come on down and support this area.
That's right.
Yes. Yes, G, tell us where they can find all of your works and what you're doing. Give the people where they can find you.
Okay, so you guys can find me on YouTube. Just put in Giovanni Williams, and my page should come up on YouTube. I have different pieces on there. You can follow me on Instagram on Gio Speaks. So that's GIOSPEAKS. Gio Speaks, all one word. That's my handle on Instagram. And you can find me on Facebook at Giovanni Williams. Just search that, and you should be able to find me. Also, my wife, she also, as we talked about, she's a singer. Dynamic, she's a songwriter. So you can literally find her if you type in Honore in Spotify, Honore Williams. You also can follow her on Instagram at True Sweet Melody. That's all one word spelled. That's TRUE, True Sweet, SWEET, Melody, MELODY. And she has, awesome inspirational work as well. And I'm coming out with new pieces every week.
Powerful.
Throughout the week, because there's inspiration every day.
Yep.
And the people need it. I need it. Yep. We all need it.
You
So,
got to inspire yourself before you can inspire anyone else.
That's
because if you're trying to inspire someone else without being inspired, it's not going to be inspiration.
That's right. Yes, that's right. That's true. You got that right.
Go ahead.
Yep. So yeah, so that's it. That's where you can find me and my work. And thank you for the opportunity, James. I really appreciate
Always.
it. This is what artists need, in the community, and what the community needs from the artists is that continual platform,
Yes.
no matter what.
That's right.
To keep it pushing.
That's right.
That's what we need.
I appreciate you coming
All right.
out. All right. Thanks for coming out, Giovanni, and we'll talk to you again next time. Peace.
Take care. Peace.